ShotokuTech, Saturday Story Time. These are the stories that you might have missed while you were caught up in other stories. Welcome back to ShotokuTech, Saturday Story Time, 1 August 2020 edition. Look in the description down below for the link to this blog that has the links to all of these stories. So scientists are really excited about this mysterious blue hole near Florida. Basically, it's a sinkhole in the ocean. It's 425 feet deep, and it's located beneath 150 feet of water in the Atlantic Ocean, off the coast of Florida, about 50 miles southwest of Sarasota. It's sort of hourglass shaped, which creates challenges for people to explore it. Little is known about these blue holes due to their lack of accessibility. These have been encountered before, reported by fishermen and divers. Now researchers and scientists are taking interest in them. Blue holes are underwater sinkholes, similar to sinkholes on land, they theorize. They think there's about 20 of these off the Florida coast, but nobody knows how many there really are. They're basically like old springs, something like 8,000 to 10,000 years ago they formed. They have a very diverse biological community in each of these. It's unique. And the seawater chemistry in the holes is also unique. It appears to interact with the groundwater, and scientists are hoping to find out if it's connected to Florida's groundwater. So earthquake sensors see a sharp drop in human activity due to the pandemic. Basically, seismometers are seeing the amount of activity that you would normally see in the middle of the night and during holidays, only this has lasted from March to May, and it's encompassed almost every corner of the planet. 76 scientists from 27 countries, from Norway to New Zealand, the instruments tell a consistent story. The surface of the Earth has become unusually calm and quiet as the virus raced across the planet earlier this year. You wouldn't expect a disease to show up on a seismometer. This study gathered data from 268 research stations, and the shutdown effect was apparent almost everywhere. It's a 50% reduction in background noise. Seismic monitoring can serve as a unique way for monitoring human activity. There's fewer potential privacy concerns. The fact that shutdowns led to a drop in noise is not in itself surprising, but the scale of the effect was eye-opening. For seismology, the lockdown period is now a baseline to show the impacts humans have on our seismic data. So if you follow ShotokuTech on Twitter, then you would have heard about this double meteor shower that occurred last Tuesday night to Wednesday morning. I tweeted about this on Sunday. So there's actually two separate meteor showers that were observable from North America. This is a cool little image showing the different colors of meteors based on their chemical composition. So these are both the Delta Aquarids and the Alpha Capricornids. So I hope you got to see it, and follow ShotokuTech on Twitter. So here was another great detailed description of the Mars Perseverance rover. It took off on Thursday the 30th, and by all appearances, all three of the Mars missions look like they're well underway. Remember last week we had United Arab Emirates and China both launch missions towards Mars. UAE has an orbiter, and China has both an orbiter and a rover, and we've launched this Perseverance Mars rover just now on Thursday. So it's going to be a few months. We'll be hearing more about this as we get closer to February when they're expected to arrive. This will be the 5th rover the U.S. has sent to Mars, and it's set to do new things that the previous rovers could only dream of. It's going to collect video, audio, drill samples of Martian rock and soil for later return to Earth, and search for chemical remnants of ancient microbial life, and test technologies that future astronauts will need on the red planet. But one of the coolest things and it's not receiving too much chatter thus far, is part of this mission is this little helicopter named Ingenuity is going to drop out of Perseverance rover and fly around on Mars. So that's pretty exciting. The rover carries this helicopter named Ingenuity. So Ingenuity, if successful, has 4 carbon fiber blades that spin 8 times as fast as you would on Earth, lifting Ingenuity off the ground and carrying it through the thin Martian atmosphere. It weighs just 4 pounds. But Martian air is just 1% the density of Earth's atmosphere. So that's going to be an interesting flight. Good luck to all 3 of the Mars missions. Best wishes to Perseverance and Ingenuity. Who knows? You might have to ask who's flying the plane and find out that nobody is. That could be scary. So Airbus has just completed their autonomous taxi, takeoff, and landing project. One of the jets performed normally pilot-flown maneuvers entirely on its own. More than 500 flights were conducted with the new Airbus that successfully used image recognition technology. So, integrated with exterior cameras, it allows it to perform phases of flight entirely on its own. So it turns out the masks protect us from much more than the pandemic disease. They also protect us from facial recognition software. Wearing face masks that adequately cover the mouth and nose cause an error rate of some of the most widely used facial recognition algorithms to spike between 5 and 50%. Black masks were more likely to cause errors than blue masks. And the more of the nose that was covered by the mask, the harder the algorithms found it to identify the face. So they're working to develop facial recognition for faces that are masked. So they plan to test the accuracy of these algorithms that were intentionally developed with masked faces in mind. So privacy advocates are pretty happy about this. Many people have warned about the rush by governments, law enforcement, and even private entities using this facial recognition technology. So with this issue of masks, companies are now adapting algorithms that identify faces using just the area around the eyes. Russian firm Entech Labs says their new algorithms can identify individuals even if they're wearing a balaclava. So that's like full face cover except for... Wow. Such claims aren't entirely trustworthy though. We know that. So if you're a Tigers fan, this is good news. Endangered tigers have made a remarkable comeback in 5 countries. Tiger numbers are increasing across 5 countries where the endangered big cat is found. It's on the increase in Bhutan, China, India, Nepal, and Russia. A decade since the launch of an ambitious scheme to double the population of the species. TX2 was launched in 2010 when it was estimated that the wild populations of the cat were at a historic low, with as few as 3,200 animals remaining across 13 countries where they are found. And the aim was to double that number by 2020. In India, the number of wild tigers in 2018 is estimated to be between 2,600 and 3,350, around 3/4 of the world's population, and more than double the number in 2006. Nepal population of tigers nearly doubled by 2018, from 121 to 235. Nepal's national park alone has increased from just 18 tigers to 87. In Russia, Amur tiger numbers have increased by 15% in the last 10 years to around 540 animals. So 10 years ago, the tigers were in such a perilous state, there were a very real risk of becoming extinct. And so from 2010, with this remarkable comeback, thanks to coordinated and concerted conservation efforts of these countries. But there's still threats from poaching, illegal wildlife trade, and the destruction of habitat. This one is pretty close to home. There was a drone swarm that invaded the Palo Verde nuclear plant, and this is just outside of Phoenix, not once, but twice last September. So there was this Freedom of Information Act request for documents about the small number of drones that flew around a restricted area at Palo Verde nuclear plant, on 2 successive nights last September. Security forces watched, but were apparently helpless to act as the drones carried out their incursions before disappearing. Details of the event give some clues to what they were doing. So, this scientific coalition for UAP studies is mainly interested in these reports of anomalous aerospace phenomenon, or UFOs. In this case, though, the drones were easily identifiable. This Palo Verde nuclear plant is the largest nuclear plant in the United States, 35% of Arizona's total power capacity. It supplies electricity to Phoenix, Tucson, San Diego, and Los Angeles. So let's look at the description of these drones. The drones have flashing red and white lights, fly 200 to 300 feet above the site. They had spotlights that they could turn off and on. So they were there for 80 minutes. The officers estimated they were over 2 feet in diameter. So this flight time and the size indicates these aren't just consumer drones like the DJI Phantom. These would be more of a military-grade quadcopter. The most obvious answer is the drones were gathering intelligence. Maybe they were building three-dimensional models of the nuclear power plant, either using LiDAR or photogrammetry. Either of these techniques requires an extensive amount of data collection to develop the three-dimensional model, and this may explain why they were there for so long. So after the success of the first night, they were probably tempted to go back and check any areas they might have missed. Yeah, I just don't know about these stories where we're playing with nature, and this CRISPR, this gene editing tool, is always an interesting topic. Well, we've produced squid that are clear as glass. So, spotless cephalopods hints that squid could make a good model organism for applying CRISPR to brain research. Researchers have used CRISPR genome editing technology to make squids transparent. This is the first use of CRISPR in cephalopods, a class of marine invertebrates. Cephalopods have large brains, complex behaviors, and neurons that directly control the changing patterns on their skin, making them a promising model organism for studying brain evolution and neural function. CRISPR deleted a gene called TDO from the embryos of this longfish inshore squid. The protein encoded by TDO helps to add pigment to the animal's eyes and chromatophores, color-changing cells that allow cephalopods to blend in with their environment. Knocking out TDO made the animals transparent. So next, they're going to modify the hummingbird bobtail squid, which is smaller and easier to maintain in laboratories. Thank you for watching ShotokuTech Saturday Story Time. Look in the description down below for the link to this blog that has links to all of these stories. Thank you and have a great week. Thank you for watching ShotokuTech. Please subscribe, comment, like, and share.